Hi everybody, Kat here. Welcome to my channel. Well, it's quite early on Saturday morning, the 2nd of September. We're in the middle of our holiday long weekend, Labor Day weekend here in Canada. And as we know, we just passed the anniversary, 26th anniversary of Princess Diana's death. And surprisingly, oddly enough, yesterday we got the news that Mohammed Al Fayed died at, I think, 92 years old. Almost 26 years to the day. One day, a matter of hours of difference of 26 years between the deaths of Diana and Dodi and Mr. Al Fayed. It's quite surprising. And then in another week, we've got the anniversary of the Queen's death. So we've got all of these things kind of coming together, and you're still hearing, what if? What if Diana hadn't died? Why would things be different? It's still a discussion. People, for example, are saying, oh, all of this with Harry and Meghan, and it never would have happened this way had Diana been alive. If she'd have still been around, there's no way that Meghan could have manipulated her way into things. If Diana had still been alive, Camilla wouldn't be queen. It wouldn't have been allowed. If Diana was alive, Harry and William's relationship would have never fallen into this way. If Diana was still alive, Harry would never have the mental problems that he's having now, and he'd be a different person. And it's really easy to look back and go, if only she hadn't died, and it was a tragedy, and sure it was, and I don't believe it was an accident, to be honest with you. If you just have to look at how things changed after she died. I mean, her death, the timing of her death was, it couldn't have been a better outcome for Charles, if you're honest, the way things went. But let's just look at this. Let's look at things that were happening when Diana died. She was in the middle of shifting her life, professionally and personally. She was concentrating more on international humanitarian projects such as the landmines. She had received a humanitarian award in the United States. Her contemporaries at the time, because she was a royal, she was the most well-known person in the world. She was a true humanitarian. She received the humanitarian award from Henry Kissinger, the Clintons. These were her contemporaries at the time. These were the circle of people she was running, and top of the heap people for sure. But you look 26 years on and you discover, who is she getting involved with? The globalists, the people that want to run the world, the people that don't care about you and me. In fact, it was Henry Kissinger that first used the phrase useless eaters to refer to people like you and me. We're useless eaters. We're taking up their air, they're taking their space, their resources. And that's what everything that's going on right now, from climate change to electric cars and renewable energy and don't eat meat, and it's all heading towards a nefarious plan to put us all into poverty, to put us all into a feudal state where very few run the show and have all the resources, and we do not. Klaus Schwab, famous quote from him, head of the World Economic Forum that just about every politician is an acolyte of now. He has said of us, of the people, they'll own nothing and they'll love it. You know, this is their plan. And at the time, this is whom Diana was getting accolades from. These were the kind of circles she was running in. The globalists, the Clintons, the most corrupt couple. They absolutely raped Haiti after that earthquake. Ever heard of the Clinton body count? Look that up. There's a whole lot of coincidental suicides of people that ran afoul of the Clintons. Suicides, like, yeah, he had hands tied behind his back, 2 bullets in his head, and the car was on fire, but yeah, it's suicide, you know? Lots of that going on. These are not good people. And you know, Diana, lots of people have said she led with her heart, not with her head, and that's why she was misunderstood and got herself in a bit of a pickle now and again. And that's true. She was also very naive. As rich as she grew up and aristocratic, she was very naive. She was very naive going into her marriage. She was not terribly worldly, and the kind of recognition she was starting to get for her charitable works through people like Kissinger and the Clintons and would have buoyed her spirit, buoyed her soul. She was doing the right thing, and look at the recognition she was getting worldwide. Now, there would eventually, I think over time, come a time when she may discover that she's being used by them and that their plans are not her plans. And what would that have done to her? Not only had she been deceived and used by the royal family, here she go, all her new friends. Would she be deceived and used by them as well? And would she recognize it? What would that do to the woman? That would have been very difficult on her. You know, find herself caught up in something she had no intention to, and how do you wiggle out of that? You know, it's just like trying to wiggle out of the royal family again. It would have been highly distressing to her, and I think, you know, would have been terrible for her. Even Mother Teresa, she adored Mother Teresa. She adored the kind of work she was doing. She looked at her as another humanitarian. Interestingly enough, Mother Teresa died within days of Princess Diana as well. But now when you look at Mother Teresa, all is not what it seems. She was the people. She had a reputation that, oh yeah, her and her Sisters of Mercy or whatever, and if you were dying, you went to her encampment and they treated you and you died with dignity. You know, Mother Teresa basically was a saint in people's minds. It makes me so angry. Mother Teresa gained fame. She won a Nobel Prize. And you know, when you win a Nobel Prize, you make a whole lot of money, hundreds of thousands. I'm not sure how much at the time. Did she use that money to better conditions in her hospital, better conditions for the dying people that she was in charge of? No. No, she donated it to globalist causes. no money for the sick and dying she was supposed to take care of, no better beds, no friggin' walls to the hospital tents, no medication, no treatments. Let's not hire a couple of doctors to help us. Nothing, no. Mother Teresa was a fraud. And people don't want to hear that. Very unpopular decision. This is another thing. Given a few years, had Diana lived and she discovered that everybody that she adored was a fraud and a criminal and a globalist. What would that have done to poor naive Diana after having gone through the trials and tribulations of her marriage and failed relationships and all the affairs? And let's not forget, when she died, she was dating, summer romance, Dodi Fayed, coke addict. He was a cokehead. He might have treated her like the princess she wanted to be treated like, and that felt good. It felt good to her because she's never had that kind of attention. In the aftermath of the accident in the tunnel, the death in the tunnel, they found cocaine in the car, even at the time when he was romancing Diana. He was doing coke. What if she discovered that? She was very anti-drug. She would not have tolerated that. That would have scuppered the relationship right away. And now, would she have discovered it in a week? Would she have discovered it in a month, in a year? There you go. That would be another huge disappointment for Diana, having discovered this kind of deception. She would not have been, that would have been very upsetting. But we have to remember, too, that I think the only reason she got involved with Dodi, like, she'd known the family for years, and she'd known Dodi for a decade. It's not like he just popped up out of nowhere. It was a little summer romance, and she was having fun. But let's not forget about Hasnat Khan, and a lot of people don't even realize this. She was having an affair with Hasnat Khan, a heart surgeon, for 2 years. She kept it quiet. She loved him dearly. They spent a lot of time together. They made sure they were never photographed together. Nothing, absolutely, because Hasnat did not want to be Mr. Princess Diana, or Dr. Princess Diana. He knew it wouldn't work. And when things came to a head, apparently in a park adjacent to Kensington Palace, they went out there and I guess had just a screaming row. She wanted him to come out publicly and be her boyfriend. She wanted them to be a couple. She wanted to announce it publicly. And he was like, no way. He is not gonna, he could not live his life and be a surgeon and do the things he was doing and have this kind of publicity around him. And they broke up. And a lot of people have said this whole hooking up with Dodi and allowing pictures to be posted and taken and posted of her and Dodi and embraces and this kind of thing, that it was, again, in Diana's naive mind, she was trying to make Hasnat Khan jealous. Like, look what I can do. Look what you could have had. And, this is what she was hoping. The day before she died, she had a phone call with Richard Kay, the journalist, and she was coming home. She was having fun. from the sounds of that conversation, she had no intentions anyway at the minute to get much more serious with Dodi. And I think Dodi was definitely would have pursued it and been serious about her. There's speculation, the whole thing about the jewelers, and he was going to be picking up a ring, and was it an engagement ring, and this kind of thing. But the speculation is that Dodi was more serious than Diana about the whole thing. And, you know, but all the things, the drug abuse with Dodi, she would have found out. That would have not only been terribly embarrassing for her if it had hit the press, it would have been heartbreaking, you know. And then she comes back, and Hasnat still would have nothing to do with her. The whole landmines issue was quite contentious, and what was she going to do next? Her life was really at loose ends, and she was trying to put it all together at the time she died. And I think, you know, it's terribly tragic to say, but given all the pitfalls that were ahead of her, it's almost a bloody blessing she died when she did, because, you know, she had a bit of a tragic life. She did not have a happy childhood. She did not have a happy marriage. She did not have happy relationships. And I think because of her naivete and the way that people had always used her, I don't think she would have had a terribly happy life. So I think the best thing, instead of saying, what if, you know, is to say, it was great while it lasted. She, despite everything against her and all her issues and all her troubles, she came on the scene. She did the best with what she had. She was a true humanitarian. She did care about people. And I think that's what we have to take away from all of this. Like, despite everything, it was good while it lasted. Well, have a great day, everybody. Like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Love to know what you're thinking, and we'll talk to you in the next one.